Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do another pencil drawing. This time it's from this photograph, which is a photo of my two sons many years ago. So I've printed off the photo in black and white, as it's always easier when you're doing a pencil drawing to start from a photo in black and white. And today I'm going to be using a light pad or light box, which I mentioned in the last video. Mine is made by Vario, but you can get lots of different ones and they're really reasonable now. You can get an A4 one for around about sort of, well, under £20, but £13–14, maybe less. Mine's an A3 one, so it's quite big. This one actually has a problem with the on-off switch. So here you can see that you can have it at various different levels of light, and you place your photo on top and then your paper that you're going to trace over on top of that. So you have to use a fairly transparent paper. You can't really use it with watercolor paper or a thick sketch pad. I would say that this isn't as easy as using the grid that we used last week. I tend to use my light box for illustration purposes when I've done rough sketches and I want to maybe refine it into a better sketch. So I will sometimes just use my light box for that, but I don't use it very often. But it's still worth, I think, you looking at the different ways or different items that you can use to help you when you're starting out drawing. So what I think I'm going to do over the next few weeks is actually not go on to the watercolor just yet. I've changed my mind, but I'm going to show you various other ways that you can do of transferring your drawing to paper. And some will be very inexpensive, just a piece of tracing paper, and others will be a little bit more high-tech. So really all I'm doing here is getting the basic outline. Like I've said before, your drawing is the most important bit because it's like you're a skeleton. And then we won't do any shading. This is just getting, it's really putting things in their correct positions, like the eyes, the nose, and everything like that. And I feel that it's always quite good when you're starting out learning to draw to trace or somehow copy like this before you start to do it on your own. It just helps you, it kind of teaches your eye and hand to coordinate together. Okay, so we've got our rough outline now. So I'm going to go over it a little bit more just to refine it. But this is always kind of a learning process, and it doesn't matter how many times you've drawn before. It's always a learning process. Every time I draw, it's a learning process, and I learn something new every time. And I think that's one of the things that really excites me about art, and it's probably true of anything you do. Each time you do it, you learn something different. You might not even notice that you're learning, but you are. And we always learn by our mistakes. That's the greatest human tool for learning, is making mistakes. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. And what do I always say? Enjoy the process of doing your drawing. It's the doing that's the important part. And if you get something great at the end, then that is just the cherry on the cake. If you don't worry about it. You haven't wasted your time. You are learning. Now here I'm going to change to my 2B and B pencils just for the shading to make it kind of darker. Because you are limited. If you only have an HB pencil, you can do a perfectly good drawing, but it just won't bring out the darks as much. There is a limit to how dark you can go with an HB pencil, as I've mentioned before. And I'm starting off with his hair, which is at the top and which is the darkest thing. So if I was to start at the bottom and work up, then I would be smudging things as I worked up to his hair. And don't forget the highlights. Highlights are in hair what makes it shine, what gives it 3 dimensions and makes it come alive. I'm using a piece of paper here just to prevent myself from smudging. Because the hair is so dark, it does cause a lot of graphite dust on the paper, which you can easily smudge into your drawing. So hence the reason that I've got the piece of paper there. It stops my hand from smudging the rest of the drawing. Smudging is also quite good as a tool for drawing, because you can use your finger or a tool for smudging your graphite pencil and making it so that the pencil marks show less. Because sometimes you want the pencil marks to show, because like in hair, they can add individual hairs. I'm now coming down into his face more and doing a bit of shading there, and I will come back again and do more shading everywhere. So this is just the first layer. If I was doing a finished picture rather than a sketch, then I would do a lot more layers. Probably in a sketch, a pencil sketch, I will only do about 2 layers. But if I was doing a full pencil drawing, then it would take me a lot longer, and I would come back in and refine again and again and again. As we go on, you can see the importance of getting the features in the correct position, which is what all these aids to drawing help you to do. And if they're not in the right position, it really does show. And also, putting the features in the correct position actually gives you more of a likeness. That is one of the things that helps you get the likeness of the actual sitter in your portrait. All the time, keep looking back at your photo and working out where the really darkest bits are and coming in and shading them. And you might have to come back and go darker again later. That is all part of the process. And it's easier to make things darker than it is to actually erase and make things paler. But if you look at the photo, the darkest thing in the photo is his hair. So that is kind of my point, that I will look at the different shades of grey from that point. And the same, the lightest thing in the picture is probably the jacket of the baby. We don't have any highlights in eyes because the eyes aren't actually showing today. So it's the jacket of the baby, and you can't go any lighter than the whiteness of your paper. So the lightest bits of the jacket will be just the white of the paper. And getting the folds, the creases in clothing always just makes your picture look more dynamic. It used to be when I did a drawing, I was really interested in doing the face, and the rest of it I wasn't interested in. And so my pictures, okay, I had a lovely face, but the rest of it just left something to be desired. So I decided that I would have to really concentrate on drawing the clothes or the hands or anything else that was in the picture. And so I had to become interested in drawing those things in order to give myself a good rounded out portrait. And since I've done that and concentrated more or as much on those things as I do on the face, I think I've made far better portraits. Now I'm concentrating here on the baby's head and his hair, which at the very edge is equally as dark as the child's. I enjoy doing landscapes, but I have always loved portraits above anything else. As a child, the first things I drew were people. The first thing most children, I guess, draw that's recognisable are people, because people are so intrinsically important to us. And I love drawing children. If you think about it, the human face, the face of our mother, is the first thing that we really identify with. And infants really get that connection with their mother by looking at them and studying their mother's faces and learning through that emotions and interpreting expressions and a whole host of things which probably half we don't even know about. So coming in here and making his little sweater just a little bit darker, and that will bring out the lighter bit of the baby's jacket, and also the baby is holding something. So I wanted that to show up more. If you can see, there is a distinctive difference in the shade of the boy's sweatshirt and the baby's cuff and sleeve of his baby grow. And then again, the jacket, the knitted jacket, is much lighter again, almost white in most places. Here I'm doing the hand of the child. And if you want to know more about doing hands, then look back. I did a video on children and babies' hands a few weeks ago, so you can always check that out. And you'll see there is an adult hand actually giving support to the baby's head, as my little son, who was 3 or 4, was not really supporting the baby's head, so my mother came in and supported that. I don't want to do too much to the adult hand because that is not the emphasis of the drawing. The emphasis is really the connection between the child and the baby, although I think the baby is screaming a little bit. If you're enjoying my video, then please consider subscribing and press the bell to get a notification each time I release another video. I do publish videos regularly every Sunday at 15:30, or at least I try to, and occasional videos on a Wednesday. I would like to do more, but it takes me quite a long while to process and edit these videos. So I think at the present time, I'm just going to continue with the Sunday videos and the occasional Wednesday videos. At the moment, on the Wednesday, once a month, I'm doing the monthly update watercolour sketch of my baby grandson, who is now 9 months old. So I'm doing that for his first year of his life as a kind of diary. Now next week, I will do another pencil sketch portrait using a different method of transferring your image to paper. As always, please like, share and subscribe, and stay well, and see you next Sunday at 15:30. Thank you. Bye.